First thing I want you guys to do is just listen to your breathing. So that was 20 minutes, give or take, 25 minutes of guard passing. So you guys, even if you're in really bad shape, should be able to do that for an hour, 2 hours. And you should be expending more of your energy holding guard than you are passing guard if you're doing it. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna talk about gravity passing, Hickson style passing, old school passing, whatever you want to call it. But it's a different way to pass the guard, and try and break it down again and go through it. This way of passing the guard has a couple of advantages. The first one is you immediately make the person on bottom expend more energy than you. That's super important. Second one is it's not attribute dependent. It's a question of weight and angles. It's not based on grips or speed or explosiveness, which is always going to favor the younger, faster, stronger jiu-jitsu competitor, that kind of passing game. And the third thing is it's going to translate to no gi, so it won't matter if you take the gi on or put it on or take it off. MMA, self-defense, this is pretty much how you're going to want to pass. If you have someone on the ground and you want to keep them on the ground, this is how you have to be able to pass, okay? So before we get into exactly what to do step by step, and we go back through, and this is the hard part about teaching this particular passing game, is it's all conceptual. I mean, I'm not going to really show you guys any particular pass. There's going to be directions. It's always over, under, or around. It's basically that simple, right? Over, under, or around the legs one way or another with various techniques, but by the time you guys are in this class, you guys know how to pass under, how to do a knee slide and pass over, how to do a around and pass around. So it's more of a strategy and a structure of what you're doing with your body. But a couple things that I see that I immediately want you just to stop doing. And if you just stop doing it, it'll have a good effect, okay? So if I'm playing guard, let me use you for an example, Harry. And what I want you to do is I want you to run in and out and around my guard. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, like that. And then back out and then come back in, and then you're looking for the perfect grip, right? And then back out and come back in. This is a complete waste of time, right? For two reasons. From a strategic standpoint, as soon as he backs out, he takes the pressure off me and I can stand back up. And so that's the first thing we want to do, is we want to make it so that the person can't stand back up. Old school jiu-jitsu in a competitive match, where we're not here to learn, but we really just want to beat each other and see who's better. If you back up out of my guard, I'm going to stand up. That's how it works. Why would I lay on my back? I'm going to kick you if that's allowed, and then I'm just going to stand up. If it's just grappling, I'm going to immediately stand up and go back to try and fight for top again. So number one, taking the pressure off allows your partner to do that. And when we play a game like that, where it's super competitive, so the other person's always going to stand up if you let them, you've lost your advantage of being on top. The moment you back up, they stand up, and now it's whoever has the better, judo or wrestling. So that's the first thing. Second thing is just from a learning perspective. How often do you get a chance to try and pass my guard, Harry, realistically?
Never. So.
Well, no, but I mean, I work with you. Right, but I work with you sometimes, right? Sure. So maybe, like, if we added up the minutes, maybe 10 minutes a year, maybe 20, depending on how often I'm at the gym, right? And you're in my class. Let's say a half hour a year. If you spend 15 minutes of that circling, what are you learning? Right? So the fear is you're going to jump in my guard and I'm going to sweep you. But what needs to happen is you need to jump on my guard so I can sweep you. Because only after I've done that 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, then eventually you'll shut me down. Right? So you guys are just prolonging the inevitable learning curve, and it takes longer to learn jiu-jitsu. So people who are always disengaging have a much longer learning curve. It's not as steep because you want to be connected to the other person. You want to get swept. You want to feel what it feels like to get put in a triangle. And then eventually what will happen is you'll start to feel it sooner and through the connection, and then you'll be able to respond appropriately and change your posture in such a way where it'll be really difficult for me to sweep or put you in a triangle anymore. You may not pass, but that's no longer happening to you. And now you're going to start to put pressure on me to make me pass. But to do that, you have to go through that inevitable, to do that with somebody better than you, you have to go through that inevitable phase of letting them work their game on you. So in other words, engage. If it's a fight and it's a competitive match, you want to immediately engage. And if in learning in the gym, why would you not want to immediately engage? So the only circumstance where it would ever be smart to do that is when you're trying not to go to the ground. And for some reason today we're drilling how not to go to the ground. And if you wind up on top of somebody, you want to stand up and run away. Okay, that would be the only circumstance where that sort of movement would make sense. Right? Make sense? That's the first thing.